We got a show today. Welcome back. We are live, making sure we get live everywhere here for y'all. We've got a heck of a show. 4 stories for you. A couple of them that you might know about. Some of the stuff, though, I'm telling you, you are going to be very interested in here. Both Anthony and myself joining you. We've been on the road here for the past couple of days. We just got back from Vegas this morning on a red eye. So if we seem like we're a little bit out of it, it's because we are. All right. and haven't gotten a lot of sleep, but we want to make sure we jumped on live to talk about some of the big stories that are happening so far this week. Thanks for joining us here on the Patrick Carr Show. We try to do this every day, talk about some of the topics. It's all live. So anything that you see on YouTube, anything that you see with us when you're driving in your car, there is not any kind of editing that we do to these stories. You're seeing it raw and uncut right here. Now, Anthony, we just had breaking news, which we are going to cover right now. Many of you who have watched the specials, if you're a crime documentary type person, you have heard about the Alex Murdaugh trials, everyone. And just coming down today on the 13th, the conviction is overturned. So now there's going to be a lot of controversy about this. So I want to make sure that everybody understands the facts of this case right now. Here's the facts. The jury has come back. I'll just kind of read this one to you because I want to make sure people don't think that he is innocent right now, Anthony. There's a thought that when you see this and you're going to see the headlines that somehow that now this guy is innocent and he's going to walk. That is not the case that we have right here. Everybody, I think, who's ever watched a special knows anything about the case. Everybody knows this guy is guilty. However, though, the justice system, in my opinion, did its job. Let me repeat. The justice system did its job, and I'm going to explain to you why. Here's what happened, everyone. The South Carolina Supreme Court unanimously ruled today that they overturned the Alex Murdaugh 2023 murder conviction for killing his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul. It does not mean that he's innocent. Does not mean that DNA has cleared the guy or anything. But what happened is there's a woman by the name of Becky Hill. This person was the county clerk. And Anthony, this person is in charge of looking after the jury and looking after the evidence. While this trial is going on, she's doing some nefarious things behind the scenes, including writing a book called Behind the Doors of Justice, The Murdaugh Murders. She wanted juicy material to sell books. The justices in this case even wrote it perfectly. Quote, Hill was quite busy behind the doors of justice, thwarting integrity of the justice system. She was sworn to protect and uphold. She went on and pleaded guilty to lying about what she said. The book itself was actually pulled from shelves for plagiarism. All right, Murdaugh, he is not going to walk. He is still facing a 40-year federal sentence for stealing $12 million from his clients. He's a terrible attorney and a terrible person. And if we had to take a wild guess here, which wouldn't be that wild, the guy is guilty of the crimes here. Okay. The clerk tried to turn a double murder trial into her own personal book sales and for her own personal gain here. And I know there are going to be a lot of people that are upset by this. This was the right decision. Because what this court said is that we have a justice system that needs to be fair to both parties. And the justice system only matters when we disagree with the other side. I believe it was Charlie Kirk all the time used to say, Anthony, free speech only matters when you disagree with the other person. As long as you agree, then who cares about free speech? The justice system only matters when both sides have a fair opportunity to present their case and we get a fair ruling from jurors. And that was not the case that we had in this trial. They are going to retry this individual and he will be found guilty, and that's going to move forward. But when I see a story like this, I believe there's an automatic thing where people jump to it and they go, oh, I can't believe this. This guy's getting off because he has money, because he has influence. No, he's not getting off for the crimes. We are saying that in this country, you must have a fair trial. And if you're convicted on a fair trial, then you know what? You should be held accountable to the law the fullest extent. This guy deserves to die. Everybody believes that who's ever seen any facts about this case. And he deserves a fair trial. This is the time if you stand for justice that you have to stand for it all the time. I've said before on this show, Anthony, that there are times where I disagree with something, but I'm very careful. Do I disagree with it because the law, or do I disagree with the decision because it's what like I believe, right? And you have to be careful with that, because as soon as you go down that slope, you open the door up to a lot of crap in the future. For instance, what happens next if we let this slide? Does that mean that a judge can influence a trial because he wants a Netflix special? Think about all these judges that have been a part of something like the Casey Anthony trial, the George Floyd trial. Do you know any of their names? No, because they did their job. We don't want justices, judges. We don't want even attorneys, in my opinion, on the state side, to try to be making a name for themselves through the court system. That's a surefire way for people not to get a fair trial and for people to be judged based on their celebrity, not based on the crimes or lack thereof that they committed. We have to stand for justice when we don't agree with the decision, because that's exactly what justice is: fair, impartial, to the best of our ability. This was not the case right here. Once he is retried and he's convicted, then we hold that person accountable in the court of law. Not this way, Anthony.
Honestly, I just find it so sad. Like, I feel bad for the families that have to go back and do this whole trial again because like he found guilty. So then they were thinking, okay, we're relieved. We got closure, and now they have to do this whole thing, the whole process over again because someone was just selfish and just wanted clout and just wanting money and publicity. And because of this one person, we have to redo everything from square one all over again, put all the evidence back into trial, do basically just the whole thing again, which is just so annoying for all the people involved and all the family members that have to deal with hearing the tragedy over again and just going back to this time that they don't really want to relive.
People need to be very careful, though, not to look at this like, I'm going to make sure I say this correctly. We want to make sure we don't look at this like black and white. You're wrong. Right. This right here, two things can be true at once.
Mhm.
You can believe and understand that this guy is guilty based on the facts of the case, and you can stand for justice by saying that a trial should be fair. And if we don't have a fair trial, we don't have a fair justice system, and that must be protected in this country. We can't allow bad actors to influence our justice system behind the scenes, and then simply because we agree with the decision to go, all right, it's fine because I agree with it. Because next time it could be you.
Yep.
It could be somebody that you love. It could be a trial where you are innocent and unfortunately money gets involved, or there's somebody behind the scenes pulling a little bit of the strings. You don't want that in your court system. Because if you have your day in court, whether it be for a traffic violation or for something terrible that you're convicted of that you were innocent of, you don't want to be thinking behind the scenes you're not getting a fair opportunity to plead your case before a court and to get an impartial ruling from a jury of your peers.
Yep.
That happened here. And that is why I agree with the decision, not that I agree with him being innocent here. And you must be able to separate the two as a mature adult. I believe that this is a win for the justice system, not for the families, not for the people that are, not for him or anything like that. But it is a win for the justice system right here. And I don't think many people are going to take that route. Everyone's going to say, oh, man, this guy deserves to rot in prison. Of course he does. And our justice system should be impartial. And I'm happy right now that they are looking at this because I don't want to see this happen to somebody else.
Yep. Totally agree.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next story that we have right here. And Anthony, we were in the airport last night when I came across this one. All right. Folks, if you did not hear, which you probably didn't because it no longer gets any kind of publicity at all, the 2026 Sports Illustrated's swimsuit edition dropped yesterday, Anthony. There was a time 20 years ago, man, when that thing dropped, everybody was looking at who was going to be on the cover. The hottest models, athletes, you name it across the board. This time around, 2026, there are 4 cover models. Alex Earl, 25, Hillary Duff, 38, Nicole Williams-English, 38, and Tiffany Haddish, 46. Now, everybody go look at the people. Go look at the cover. Tell me objectively if this is the style of individual that you would expect to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I'm not going to make an opinion about beauty because that's not for me to decide right here. What I do have an opinion on is a woman by the name of MJ Day. MJ Day, if you're not familiar with her, is the editor-in-chief of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit. She has, in my opinion, been the puppet string master behind the scenes here of ruining everything there is about Sports Illustrated because she does not understand her audience. Folks, I'm going to be very clear with you. Zero guys and people have ever picked up the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition and been like, I can't wait to hear the backstory for this volleyball player right here. No, they were opening it up because they found the woman to be attractive. They were scantily clothed, and that's why men bought the magazine. This editor-in-chief is looking to change that, has changed that, and has officially ruined the magazine. I want to read you some of her quotes right here that she has said about this edition, this 2026 Sports Illustrated magazine. Quote, celebrating individuality, body diversity, inclusivity, and the representation at the heart of every creative decision. Reflects a full spectrum of modern femininity. Can't even say the word. Body diversity, inclusivity, authentic representation, full spectrum. Folks, where have we heard this before? We've heard it in every single brand that has forgotten who their audience is and died. Every single time. I mean, I was looking through some brands that I felt this way about. Let's go Victoria's Secret. Who didn't remember used to watch a Victoria's Secret fashion show? Dead now. They've tried to bring it back. Still dead. Bud Light, Gillette. I mean, ESPN, you can make it an ESPN trying to go woke. Target going woke at one time. Everybody wants to talk about ideology. And in the course of talking about their ideology, they forget who their audience is. And I'm going to tell you what, nobody was going to the counter at Target per se, seeing the Sports Illustrated yesterday and going, man, I am really worried about inclusivity. I should buy this cover because I really am worried about how inclusive I am to Hillary Duff and her body. Said no one ever. And this to me is not a reflection of the beauty of these individuals, but what it is a reflection of is when you have somebody that comes in to run a magazine or any company and they don't understand who their target audience is and the value that you bring to that audience, and you want to alienate them and try to make them feel bad about why they're buying your magazine or your product, it's a good way to just go ahead and lose your audience. And what these people come to the board table and they say is, hold on, no, you don't get it. If we're all about inclusivity, then what'll happen is there'll be a new audience that'll come and they'll buy the Sports Illustrated edition issue. There'll be a new audience that'll come and watch our Disney movies. There'll be a new audience that'll drink the Bud Light. And what do you know? There's not a new audience, and there never is. It's why this magazine is officially dead. Period. Because they've let woke ideology creep its way in right now, and they believe that that matters over what their audience wanted from the magazine. No one's going to buy this thing. Now, again, I'm not one to sit here, Anthony, and criticize what these women look like. I went through and I looked at it. They're attractive women, all right? And even if they weren't, who cares what I think? But what I do care about is, once again, people put other individuals in charge, probably because they're afraid of what that individual will say about them unless they put them in charge. And that person drives a brand into the ground because they think it's bad that somebody wants to go buy a magazine because they find a woman to be attractive. Heaven forbid a man opens up a magazine because he simply finds the woman on the cover to be attractive and would like to see some other photos. Lord. Now, they're right there. Now, there's the crime. That's what's ruining this country, according, in my opinion, old MJ Day over here, editor-in-chief at Swimsuit Mag or at SI Swimsuit. What are your thoughts on this one, brother? I know, this last night, I was just livid because it just is. I'm so tired of this woke ideology entering into everything and thinking that it's going to somehow improve the product by just introducing an ideology that it makes no sense at all. Zero.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I never bought a magazine, so I don't know.
Okay, all right. I'm a little older than you. I get it. All right.
We're only 10 years apart. That's
Yeah.
But yeah, just I don't know. But I think I think it's a weird line where it's like companies, if like they're not like the profit hasn't been the same like 10, like I don't know, like prices decline and then they're like, oh, we need to change something up, and then that's when they're like, maybe if we do go woke, and so they're trying to change it up, but
Yeah.
sometimes it makes them go even more broke. I don't know. So I think it's a weird line where I feel like you still have to know your audience, but you have to change it up in a different way.
Yeah.
So instead of, I don't know, maybe Sports Illustrated, instead of doing magazines, do something else, branch out like TikTok or something that's different from what their norm, but their audience is still there, instead of alienating the audience and changing it up.
Yeah. When I hear words like authentic representation, things like that, when I start hearing that kind of stuff, I just go, oh, come on.
Yeah.
All right. Again, that's not to say that Hillary Duff is not a pretty woman at 38 years old. I'm not talking about the beauty or lack thereof or my opinion of that. I'm talking about what happens when ideology like this creeps into these places and then they start going, hey, I know our audience has been men between the ages of 18 and 45, but if we can just talk more about authentic representation, then you know what? Women are going to pick up this magazine and they'll want to read and they'll feel included in the magazine for the swimsuit version. And then all of a sudden, we're going to branch off into this whole other audience that's going to begin to look at and watch and be a part of this entire thing.
Yeah.
No, you're not. It doesn't work. How many times do people have to see this whole entire inclusivity doesn't work? The person who buys your product, who's been buying it for year after year after year, feels a certain way when they buy your product. Now, when you start doing this stuff and you introduce this into it, it makes them feel like I'm the problem here for buying your product. The same thing happened with Bud Light. When Bud Light introduced everything and went woke, the individuals who were drinking Bud Light said, well, why am I the problem? I'm the frat guy who's been buying your product now every single week for the past 4 years. Now I'm the issue all of a sudden. I don't want to feel that way.
I feel like sometimes companies they're trying to broaden their audience, but broadening the audience kills their audience, their target audience that they're trying to get.
Know your audience.
Yeah.
Know your audience, right? And if you do, play into them. We've talked about like the Alex Murdaugh approach when it comes to gyms, right? Alex Murdaugh, everyone's seen him. He's the guy with the nasal strip. You see him online, right? Gym Launch was the original company that I think really got him started. And what his point of it was that a lot of gyms will focus on the 90%. That's trying to bring in more people to pay $20 a month, and 90% of those people will never come to the gym but more than once or twice a week. 6 months in, their membership gets canceled, they leave, but constantly gyms are trying to appeal to those people right there. What Alex Murdaugh said is focus on the 10% of people that are paying $20 a month, but they come 6 to 7 days a week. And then increase the amount that you get from those people because they're loyal to your brand and they will pay more for better services, more services, to feel an attachment to your brand and to feel like they're a part of the system, part of the process. So if you can get $100 out of those people, and then that will supplement in all the fall off that you have from the $20 people and stop trying to cater to them. And by catering to them, you'll move more people from this side over into this side over here. Focus on your ideal customer and stop trying to placate to the masses. SI swimsuit, dead. If it was dying, it is dead now. This woman needs to be fired, all right? And then you need to bring back somebody who says, hey, you know what? I know what y'all want. You want women in bikinis. That's why it's called a swimsuit edition. And we heard you. We're going to change. We're going to adjust. And we're going to bring you the magazine that you fell in love with 20 years ago. And we're going to make it better than ever. Get this woman out of the magazine. Get the ideology out of swimsuit edition. No one's going there to read the articles about a comedian turned swimsuit model and what it means to her life. Give me a break. This right here is just such a joke. All right. I hate when ideology ends up just ruining a solid brand, one that I have a little bit of nostalgia with growing up. Okay. Just me personally. Lends us into topic number 3 right here, folks. This is a good one. This is coming from you, Anthony. As we know, Spirit Airlines filed for bankruptcy back on May the 5th. And we've talked about where their planes are just stranded all across the country. But if you weren't aware, There is somebody who's trying to come up with a plan to do something about that. TikTok creator Hunter Peterson posted a video, quote, "We nationalized Spirit Airlines, owned by the people. Airlines gone. We make a new airline." 7 million views. And let me tell you what, it has spun up some controversy, everyone. This past weekend, it raised 337 million in non-binding pledges from over 371,000 people. And what they basically were trying to say is that, hey, if we got enough people to pledge this thing, could we turn it into the Green Bay Packers of airlines? Because if you're not familiar, the Green Bay Packers are owned by the people. And they were saying, could we just own this thing and we'll make decisions based on what people want, not on what the airlines want? I loved the idea of this when you brought it to me. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things and hoops to have to jump through. But what I think it does is I think it speaks to a bigger issue here, Anthony. I think it speaks to people who, if you've had to travel, which we have recently, you know how terrible it is to fly on airplanes. They pack you in more. They give you less. They charge more all the time. More and more and more is asked of passengers. And in the meantime, the one airline that seemed to try to be giving you the cheapest price that there was out there is gone now forever. And we have a TikTok influencer here saying, hey guys, what if we all pitched in and got $10, $20, $30 and we all said we're going to run an airline the way that people should want to run an airline, not the way that a small group of board members who want to make the maximum amount of profit on the back of who gives a crap how your experience goes, how they do it. I love the grassroots effort that this guy's putting together. Now, listen, folks, there's about 1,000 things that make this impossible. I'm not a moron, okay? But I love the fact that there are people going, why don't we just, we'll just bring this stuff together and let's make it happen.
Honestly, I kind of root for this. Like, it'll be awesome in a couple years or like a year from now. It's like, oh, you know what? We brought Spirit back from the dead.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is Spirit lives on.
Spirit lives on. I like that. My initial thought when I was looking at this is why the hell not? Right? Like, let's go. Bring Spirit back from the dead and do it with the people. And I think about this and I think it's really indicative, Anthony, of how the average person feels. The average person is just trying to get from Chicago to Atlanta on the cheapest flight that they can find. They go to Google, they put in flights, and they find one that's cheap on Spirit, and they feel good about it because, man, it's $100 cheaper than what they were able to find on Delta and American Airlines. And, man, I can make that trip happen now. If you got a family of 4, you just saved $800, $400 each way. And it felt good. And it feels like, you know what, that's gone. And we all know what's going to happen. American Airlines and Delta, United, all of them are just going to continue to raise their rates even higher. They'll squish you in even more. They'll give you even less. Delta's not even going to give you food anymore, as we talked about last week. And I see this grassroots effort, and I go, man, you know what? I love it. I love the fact that there's a group of people who's like, I'd invest in that. $10, $20, $100, $1,000. Yeah, I'd do that. Now, are they non-binding? Sure. Could it just be a kid in his basement saying I'd give $1,000? Yeah. But how nice is it that we're in a world right now where it's starting to be something to where people actually consider it? Like we're in a world where a guy can make a TikTok post and all of a sudden hundreds of millions of dollars are pledged to make something happen that we never would have thought fathomable just 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the beginning of something that could be really cool where, man, if people could start to take over these companies, and I'm not saying I love capitalism, okay? I'm not talking about a socialist area here. But I'm saying, though, the Green Bay Packers are the best example of that, where the people own the Packers. And there's a loyalty that city and that state has to Green Bay because they're owners of it. They feel like they're a part of the Green Bay Packers. And when I heard this thing, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be nice to feel like you're a part of something? Because I think a lot of people feel like they're not. And this is just like, it's such grassroots efforts today. Like a GoFundMe here. But let's go buy an airline as a GoFundMe. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of things and gatekeepers and people that wouldn't let it happen, even if they were able to raise the money. And I think the number that they would need would be somewhere around 1.2 to 1.6 billion if anything like this was going to happen. So the numbers aren't going to make sense, but I think it speaks to a bigger issue, a bigger, something bigger to celebrate. Because we live in a world right now where just one post can completely shift how people in the public are able to look at a problem and completely solve, a lot of times give a solution to a problem that we're facing.
Quick question too. So that story with the Green Bay Packers, I didn't even know about that. So how did that happen? Was it like they?
I don't have so that'd be a great story. We should cover that. So Green Bay Packers are the only NFL, I mean, you can research me on this, but Green Bay Packers are the only NFL franchise that is owned by the people of Green Bay. Like, they are literal owners. You have a shareholder in the Green Bay Packers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like 500,000 shareholders.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So, I mean, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is something that gets like passed down in families and generations, that you become like, you're a part owner of the Green Bay Packers. And imagine that, like, it makes you loyal to not only the team, but to the city. Like, you're a part of it is what it feels like. Now, whether you're making decisions in a boardroom, that's one thing. Okay. But you got that share and you got it framed and it's up there on your wall, and that feels great. Green Bay Packers, though, very unique how they've done things.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. But we'll do a story on that. I don't have all the facts on that one right there. I don't know enough to speak out of that one except out of my ass. But Green Bay Packers, yeah, owned by the people. And I am sure they're, oh, no, it's owned by this company.
Yeah.
People, you get what I'm saying. All right. It's a nice thing. In our final story of the day, this one dropped just yesterday, Anthony. I am so excited about this. The Punisher, one last kill. All right. This bringing back the Punisher, a great superhero, if you will. And I want us to talk about the bigger picture here with it. You know, when I read that SI swimsuit story, you forgot their audience. The Punisher remembered who their audience was. The Punisher here, this special that they came out with, Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 83. The audience score, 96. Because you know what they did? They brought back this guy and made him a badass. Made him get out there. He's dealing with PTSD. He's killing. He's doing things. He's fighting the bad guys. He's being that guy. And people love it. All right. So The Punisher, One Last Kill, it dropped yesterday on Disney Plus. It's a 48-minute deal. John Bernthal co-wrote it, and director, let's see, Mr. Green. Critics are calling it Marvel meets The Raid, John Wick times 1,000. Bernthal's magnum opus. Like I said, a great audience score that we have on this one. A huge leap for Frank Castle, who is the character within The Punisher. He's dealing with a PTSD. But here's the thing about Frank Castle. Anytime you watch the Punisher, he's always on the side of justice, right? And I think that we tend to root for people like this. Even though they're doing things that are terrible to other people, we want those superheroes that are always standing for something that maybe we wish we would stand for. Superman, Batman. I think maybe one of the best examples is John Wick in that series that came out, the Keanu Reeves thing. Even though the guy's out there and it's all it just seems like blood, gore, killing, all that. You look at the guy and you go, he's a good guy. And the Punisher got that right. You've got a guy who's complicated. He's trying to deal with all these internal issues, but yet somehow he's doing things the right way despite what he's battling with internally. And I think a lot of men watch this and go, I aspire to be that. Now, whether you agree with that or not from a baseline of, no, men don't aspire to be the Punisher and killing people. No, they aspire to be somebody who's going through crap and is able to come out on the other side, having done things the right way, and can look at themselves in the mirror with some level of pride. And I think that's what the Punisher does. This guy's out there. He's actually doing things for justice. He's actually out there, I don't know, fighting against people or fighting for people that don't have a chance, fighting against people that are too much for those other people. There's something in that's inherently that men love.
I think men love like a good redemption story.
Oh yeah, good point.
Like with John Wick, for example, like you root for the guy, you're like, oh, like get all those guys that got your dog, do whatever. So I love those type of stories. So
you're right. Redemption stories play. And I think that if we were to dive deeper into this, like I know we don't have a lot of time here left, but the stories like this and John Wick, and even like, when we did the Batman Begins and some of these other Marvel characters that have come out that have been a little bit darker, okay? The redemption story is part of what men love. And I think that that should be something that we all look at, because as men, which is going to be primarily who's watching The Punisher, let's not kid ourselves that 20, even 10% of the audience is women. 9 out of 10 are men, and the other 10% are just watching it with their husband or their boyfriend. But men look at that, Anthony, and they go, this guy's been through some crap. PTSD. He's got this really complicated character. He's trying to figure out who he is half the time and why he does the things that he does. But despite that, he doesn't waver from his morals, values, and character of who he is as a man. And I believe that that's what a lot of men aspire to, that when times get difficult, they want to look at themselves and go, I'm going to remain the person that I should be and be true to my character when things get really difficult. And while shows like this take it to an extreme, we look at that person and we see parts of ourselves within them, and we go, those parts I like. Not the killing, not that, but I like what the person stands for. And I like that he can look at himself and go, I could have gone the other direction and I didn't. I took the path less traveled. That to me is where there's real power in a story like this. And they didn't try to placate to the masses. They made this what people wanted. A guy who's going out there and getting done, right? And to me, they didn't forget their audience. And that's why you've got a 96% yes from the audience, while Rotten Tomatoes can't even figure out their own app. But they're the ones who, whatever, they're giving it like some 83 or some BS like that. It's a great story. And you're right. Redemption is something that's far overlooked, especially in a male audience.
Honestly, thank God Disney did it right for this one. Sometimes they're hit or miss, but
yeah,
they actually looked and was like, all right, we're gonna keep our audience. We're gonna know exactly what they like, and we're gonna double down on it. And
you're right.
You know what? As you can see, it works. Instead of going like inclusive, they're not doing that bullshit. They're figuring out the audience, and they're doing it right.
Correct. Not every movie should be for everyone. All right. Some movies just need to be for your segment that likes them. And then there's other movies for those people. That's okay. It doesn't mean that one group of people is bad and the other group of people is good. It just means we like different things. Too often, I think in America, what's happened now, Anthony, is that because one person likes something, it means that they disagree with the other person on everything. Just because I have a different taste in movies doesn't mean that I'm going to have a different taste in, I don't know, what I like to eat or what I think is right versus wrong over here. We don't have to create things for everyone. We can create them for one group without offending the other group. And in this right here, these two dichotomies of the story between the SI swimsuit side, who tries to go woke, let's go ahead, the heck with our audience. We're going to talk about, reinventing, I don't know, feminine, whatever it is, ideal feminine, whatever. I don't even think of the words that she used. But they went all the way on one side. And then this Disney Plus goes, you know what? We know our audience. We're going to go for the guys from 18 to 35 and who love The Punisher. Remember John Bernthal in the series in 2016. And they're going to want to watch this because they're going to want to see a lot of the same Ash that we saw before. And they go, cool. I think it's going to work. And what do you know? It works. They make a crap ton of money. And you know what? The people who don't like it, they didn't watch. Yeah. What they did is they sat on the sidelines and went, oh no, it's so bloody. And it's just, okay, then don't go watch it. It's like when people tell me, like, you know what, this guy's bothering me or gal is bothering me online. I don't like the comments that they leave me. Well, why don't you block them? You don't have to engage in everything. Just like Hollywood movies and art and music don't have to engage with their entire audience. Instead, what you can do is create something for people that are going to like you. In fact, I've said this before, Anthony, I'll end with this. When you get online and you start creating content at scale, which we're doing right now, and we're trying to figure out our voice in some ways with what we do here, right? And you help me out with that. we try to just tell our opinion about it, understanding that 50% of the people out there are not going to agree with us. 50% are. But I would rather be myself and the 50% don't like me than to continue to try to be something I'm not and 50% still don't like me. At least when I read the comments, I go, all right, well, you don't agree with me and you don't agree with my real opinion, not with what I manufactured and trying to make everybody happy. Do I think everyone agrees with my swimsuit edition take? Heck no. But I'll tell you what, it's my take. And so if you disagree with it, I'm going to be happy when I see the comments and I go, all right, at least me and you disagree on what I really believe, not some manufactured BS that I did out there so I could placate to the masses and make everybody happy. It's me. We talked about it. This was it last week when you did that funny one about people who comment behind their private profile. What a joke. If you do that, what a freaking joke you are. Sitting there, I've just said it last week, hiding behind private profiles to make comments on people because you don't have an opinion. If you're going to make an opinion, at least give a solution. If you're going to go out there and go, I'm going to hate on somebody's opinion, explain why. Explain what exactly you would do differently. Not come at them from a place of, oh, you're a loser. You do. Okay, cool, buddy. See you later. I have a lot of respect for the people who come on and like comment, and they'll actually say something. They go, actually, this in the case. Okay.
And then it actually makes you think like, oh, maybe I was wrong for some of these things, or like, I never thought about it from this perspective, and then I could see your side.
Yes.
Instead of saying you're stupid.
Oh.
It's like there's no. There's
nothing to gain.
Yeah, there's nothing to gain. There's no trying to think of the word. I'm tired. That red eye just got me.
Listen, me and you both, all right? We literally got the plane a couple of hours ago after being, American Airlines got us out. We got to Vegas, I want to say it was Eastern time, about 5 a.m. Eastern.
Something like that.
No, it was later than that. No, it was like 6:30 Eastern on Monday morning. And then we left last night around 11 p.m. Eastern. No, about 1 a.m. this morning Eastern.
Oh, jeez.
Like, just an absolute mess. But I'll tell you, I'm happy we went out there, though. Got a chance to be with a good client. And I wasn't sure we were going to make it there as we left on Sunday night. But we got there, found a plane in Dallas, got there around whatever it was, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, and we did what we had to do.
Man, putting into perspective that we left at 1 a.m. Eastern, I was like, oh, you know what? I got some sleep. I slept at 10 p.m., but no, I.
Oh, yeah. You're right. And we got, I took a couple Xanax, and I was passed out at least on the flight from here from Vegas to Miami. And then we had Miami, LA over there quickly, and then we were on our way to Orlando here. But we want to make sure that we jumped on, talk to y'all about what's going on in the news today. Anthony's always kind enough to jump right back into work, and we'll get you some of these stories tomorrow as we get a little bit more sleep. I'm sure we'll be more on tomorrow, Anthony. Until next time, everybody, this is the Patrick Carr Show. Thanks so much for joining us, and make sure you like and subscribe if you check us out over on YouTube. Thanks so much.